She's a black belt in karate, working for the city. She has to discipline her body, 'cause she knows that.
Fab Lab is a global network of labs. This is a concept project that was put forth by the Center for Bits and Atoms at MIT. The idea is that there's a set of tools that can be distributed amongst the world or around the world into communities, into unique communities, and used as each community decides for their own needs, wants, desires, and creative goals. And there are Fab Labs basically on almost every continent. South America's lacking right now, and Central America. But they're in Africa. They're beginning to show up in Asia. There's a few in Europe and a few in North America, and kind of spreckled at random around the world. So what's interesting about this concept and how I believe it relates to what we're doing here at Siggraph is that it is exploring this interplay between digital information and material reality. And the Center for Bits and Atoms is very much invested in exactly that exploration. So looking at how it is that information is manifested in physical form and also encoded in physical form, and how that can be translated and altered, and how that affects the reality that we live in. Now, the Fab Lab is a project that takes that concept and puts it into a very tangible reality. And what I'll show you here will kind of begin to explain what I mean by that. So basically, digital fabrication tools, I'll go into a little bit further what that is in a moment here, but basically tools such as things we may have heard about and may be really familiar with, such as laser cutters, CNC milling machines, or any other computer numerically controlled machines, things like plotters, even anything that works on at least an XY axis or a 3-axis minimum machining capability. So with these tools, people are able to create, conceptualize, design, and then produce. So this is a few logos that I've kind of smashed together here just to tell a quick tale about the Fab Lab that I'm representing, which is the Fab Lab San Diego. Heads on Fire is a small nonprofit out of San Diego that's been very focused on the idea of bridging the digital divide for the last almost 8 years now. We partnered with the Center for Bits and Atoms at MIT to site a Fab Lab in San Diego. This lab now has grown and has taken several iterations and is now being branded as Fab Lab San Diego, and these are some of the kind of icons that we're associating with our lab. So that's just to bring you into kind of who we are specifically. This is a nice map showing Fab Labs around the world and some of the locations and listing them. Fab Labs are planning to try and grow exponentially, which is, I think, an insane undertaking, but a very bold and brave one. So to give a little bit of an idea of what starts to happen when this intersection of digital fabrication technology and humans come together in a format where they don't have any specific requirements set upon them to what they need to make. All sorts of very interesting kind of grassroots innovation springs up, and people begin to make things that are very unique and very specific to their individual needs, the needs of their community, or just their artistic whims, which is very interesting, and I think takes kind of a social element and really plays it against this technological element, and that's where I think it gets really interesting. So in Amsterdam, they have a very, very, very well-equipped lab that I'm going to be visiting hopefully here pretty soon. And they do all sorts of prototyping. They have a well-equipped rapid prototyping environment. They work with a lot of adults and professionals and designers. They also do programs and projects that are related to outreaching to the community through health and products that interface with the community in ways that they feel is helpful to the community. So you can see here, just all sorts of interesting things like blocks that light up that kids are playing with, and things that, quite frankly, I really don't know what they do. But they look fantastic. And Barcelona, their Fab Lab is under the umbrella of a university that is oriented toward industrial design and architecture. And so here you see people creating all sorts of really beautiful, fantastic, high art and design concept pieces. And you can kind of get a little bit of an idea here by looking at the slides. You know, it looks like we have some laser etched surfaces on top, everything from that to people, probably there must be something representing, there's some 3D milling going down here in the bottom right. Circuitry, a boy wearing a hat, which is important, that looks like it was laser cut out of wood or something. So again, it's people designing for their desires, which I think is very interesting. Now that's a contrast to Fab Lab Afghanistan, which is definitely a bold project. And here, you know, there are obviously a much different set of circumstances that people are working within. So things like infrastructure are a major issue. I think that this project in particular, though, was very interesting that was set up over there. It's called FabFi. And basically, this is a completely homegrown parabolic reflector that you can set up basically with chicken wire and wood. And the design was created by, I believe, by Amy Sun from MIT, and it's open source, and you can download it. In fact, we have downloaded it, and we've created it with kids and actually field tested it. And it was very interesting to watch kids running around in the regional park that's nearby in San Diego to where we work, and actually doing these field tests to see whether their designs for reflectors, how they worked against this design for a reflector, and you know, testing it against different communications devices and kind of getting an understanding of how these waves were actually working and how they were transmitting and how they were able to increase their intensity, and sometimes how they were able to just completely fail because there were trees in between, you know, the two nodes that they were trying to get working. So it was a very interesting test, but I think that this is very unique because obviously, whereas in Barcelona, people are practicing these high design concepts, which is totally unique to their set of needs and desires. In Afghanistan, I think that this represents a very unique set of needs and hopefully a solution for some of those. So here we have a Fab Lab in Kenya. Also, you know, kind of a mix between items created for pleasure and for play and for creativity, and items created for needs. Some very brilliant communications devices actually being developed over there. We threw in, there weren't a lot of photos, so we threw in a few AfriGadget photos for inspiration, because I think AfriGadget is a very inspiring site, and anytime I'm feeling like I can't think of the next thing to do, I tune into AfriGadget, so I highly recommend it. It's basically about appropriating technology and just all of these amazing mishmash creations that are made from, you know, parts of radios and tin cans and a whole bunch of stuff that's absolutely amazing. Fab Lab India, also a really amazing mix of things created for desire and things created for need. I love this picture in the middle, the upper middle. That's my friend Donajay. He's a very brilliant professor, and he's riding a bicycle that controls the sprinkler system in the garden. There are bicycles that control seemingly kind of everything in this particular lab. Lots of kinetic to electric conversion going on and lights being lit up through bicycling and whatnot. So another very unique look at how people are coming together to make this stuff that's interesting to them.